kiss for you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to my part 3 of this video series on retrofit using Java in Android Studio. Alright guys, so in my previous part of this video series, I mean the part 2, we had learned how to send the data using the form URL encoded using the body of the URL and send it to the PHP file, and how we could register our user, right? So after this, so now in this video we will learn about how we can send the JSON data using the body in Android using retrofit library. Alright, so let's get started. So here you can see, let me just open my WAMP server, and here you can see we have the retrofit YouTube, and this was the registered file. So let me open it, and you guys can see that we had this register file here. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to just copy that and paste it here, and we just need to have a copy of that, and let me rename it as register with JSON, okay, .php file. So here now what we are going to do is we will change the code, and we will receive these values using the JSON array, right? So before that, let me just open my Android Studio again, and here you can see that we had this main activity file, and when we click on the register button, so the function of uploading the function was being called. So here you can see the register function was called, and it was sending the data using the, you can see, using the form URL encoded like this, right? So now what we are going to do is we are going to now use the comment down this method, and we are going to initialize our new method, and that will be using the JSON body, right, or the JSON object. So for that, let me just write here register, and inside here similarly we will pass name and age, and here we can write register with JSON, right? And here we can similarly create the method here, private void register with JSON, and here we can have it like this: string password, string name, and string age. And okay, so before that, I think there is an error where it is right. So here we are going to initialize the method here inside our interface class. So here we are going to write the code. So for this, first of all, we need to use similar process call, and in here we have to pass on our user in the serialize, and here we can say register with JSON body, and here we are going to write the annotation of a body, and then we are going to send the JSON object. Alright, and here above what we are going to do is we have to use the post, and here we are going to write similarly register. Let me write the name of this, register with JSON .php. Alright, and also here above this we are going to use the header, and here we are going to use content dash type. Okay, it will be in semicolon. Content type, it will be application oblique JSON. I think there is an error, but I don't know what is it. Okay, so we just remove this, right? So after this we are going to write the code. So here we come to our main activity.java, and in here we are going to write the method. So first of all, here we can it's like similar code. We will say user serialize, and here we can name it as my call equal to API interface dot register with Json body. And now we have to create the Json body. So for that we will create another method, and it will be API JSON create, and in here we are going to provide it with all these variables. So here we have email, we have the password, we have name and age, right? And here let me just create the method here. And what we are going to write it here is like we are going to create the JSON object. So for that we are going to use the JSON object here equal to new JSON object, and then we are going to use the JSON object equal to new JSON object. Both these objects are quite similar, but they have the difference which I will tell you later, right? And here we are going to use the obj dot put, and here we are going to put first of all the email, and it will be email. Then we will put obj dot put password, and then here we will have to use the password here. Similarly for the name, alright. And here it is saying to use the exception. So here we will write add exception to method signature. So we have the JSON exception here. Alright, after we have created this, so now we have to parse this JSON file. So in order to parse this, we can use the JSON parser of the JSON library, and here we can say JSON parser equal to new JSON parser, and then we are going to use the above one JSON object equal to JSON object, and then we are going to use JSON parser dot parse, and here we have to pass on our object here, but it's saying an error. So we are going to use the toString method, right? So after this we are just going to return this JSON object here. Alright, this function is now complete, and after this here we am having still this error, and it's saying to add exception to method signature. So after this we can say my call dot enqueue new callback, and so now our function is complete, right? So after this we are going to use the here we are going to use user, or similarly we can use let me just write equal to response dot body, and here we are going to now we can easily say user serialize dot get message or anything like that. Okay, so everything is complete here. let me just write the null the methods. Alright, and after this, now we have to go to our PHP file. So let me open the PHP here, and here first of all, only what we have to do is we only have to receive the value, receive the JSON object which we have just used, we have just passed, right? So here we can it's very simple. We can say JSON data equal to file get contents, and in here we have to use a colon PHP, and we have to use input. All right, so and now finally we have to decode this JSON data into the PHP array. Okay, so for that, let me just write data equal to, and here we are. Okay, so let me just write data array equal to JSON decode, and in here we have to pass on our JSON data, and the second one is true. Okay, so that is it, and here if we can check if the data array is not equal to null. If the data array is not null, then we can say fetch the variable. So we can say email equal to data array of, and in here we can say it like email, and similarly for the password we can say data array password here, and similarly for the name and then we have the age. Alright, so after this, now we can easily just insert it into our database, and finally we can check if it is okay. So now we have to send the JSON file, I mean we have to send the JSON object in return other okay. So here we can just say it like echo JSON encode, and here we have sent the data, but this is not the data that we have to send, so we just have to send the JSON array. Alright, so let me just remove it like from here, and here we are just going to use the header, and we have to send the data array. Alright, so now the data array will be inserted, and after this our data is complete, then we have to open this one, and then here we are going to use, here we have to use the user, because we are sending the user here. So let me just write, instead of this user serialized, let me just create it, the copy of it. Alright, and let me just open it. I will just copy paste the user file here. This one, and we will just copy paste it. And we can say implement serializable. Alright, that is it, and here instead of our main activity, here we can use the user, and we only have to replace with the user serializable. Also here we have to use the user one. Okay, so now all errors are removed, and here let me just write if user is not equal to null, we just can print a message. For example, we can say user equal to user dot get user name, right? And we can also print a message data inserted successfully. Alright, so now we can just print this message, and now we can run our application. So for that, let me just use the Samsung flow. Alright guys, so now it has been connected, so now we can easily run our application, and let's see if it works or not. Okay, so guys, there was a problem, and that was that we had not set the URL of our web server. So for that, let me just write this, and here you can see we have 192.168, and you have to pass on your own IP, I mean the IP address, and then we have to use this retrofit YouTube, right? So that is now, and now it will work. So let me just run the application again, and let's just see what is going on. Alright guys, so now our application is running. Let me just write email as check email Json. Password will be something like this, and then we can say name like this, and age for example this, and if we click on register, let me just click on it again. Okay, so let me see where is the problem. And let me just open the PHP, the my admin again, and let me just check if the values have been inserted successfully or not. Retrofit DB. Okay, so there is some problem, so I will rectify it and I will tell you in my next part of this video series. So guys, if you Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alright guys, so here I have removed the error. So now here what we are going to do is we just need to run the application and let's see the working of it. So the problem was inside my this register with the Json body, so you have to manually check the everything here, right? So after this, let me just open our application and let me write the email as email check and let me just write it as 000 register, and you can see user equal to 000 and data entered successfully, right? So now we can check the data here, and if I click on here, you can see that now the data has been sent here, right? So guys, if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and goodbye.